But I had a fascinating, very interesting field visit, and just sort of as I saw the scenery, as I understood the challenge of the project, I thought, no, I should just go ahead and without any previous experience, just grab my iPhone and take a few shots. And what was interesting also that initially the colleagues I interviewed were a bit nervous and taken aback, but as we did 2 or 3 different interviews against 2 or 3 different backdrops, everyone actually got very excited. So I hope, and this was the main message, is that I could just show that even as a generalist, as a newcomer to a certain area, I think it's just worth having the reflex on trying to capture a specific moment and capture it in a sense where both you would have a picture behind, but someone knowing the project and having ownership of the project and being able to tell briefly a story. Personally, I'm very encouraged that this material also proved useful for our professionals, and it's now being edited and will be available before not too long on the Capacity for Dev platform. I was in Ethiopia indeed with a broader agenda, which also covered some of the politics and some of the African Union, but I was keen to visit the country and make it an effort to have 3 project visits which correlate and which link around the issue of food security and resilience to a challenge we face in many of the other African countries. And luckily with Ethiopia we managed to have 3 very different entry points, but which I think all converted to one broader message, namely that resilience, the consistent building up of household assets, household security, is worth our collective effort. And we have seen with one project on productive safety net production, the larger one run with a multi-million donor trust fund with the government, also has managed to reach out to an impressive number of beneficiaries. And I heard myself the very credible evidence that about 1/3 of these families, after 2-3 years, they graduate from the program saying, well, thanks, we really have re-established some of the basics, and then we can fend on our own. Then we managed to visit this in a very different part of the country, in Konzo in the south. There the very endearing message, I would almost say, is to find in a very remote place in Ethiopia a village and a society which has proved to be 300-400 years, doing very imaginative, intensive, productive capacity. Very much the resilient type aspect we're looking for in terms of household security, the village community, and also the adaptation capacity. We have heard from that farmer, for instance, how easily he invested first in bananas and then in different sort of trees, just with a minimum of input on trying to have extended the irrigative capacity of the area. And endearing also because it's linked to the capacity development. So it's not just sort of us throwing our best knowledge out there for anyone to grab. No, I think the Konzo was very much a good reference point, that there's good capacity we can still capture even in the remote place of Africa, and then make good and best practice out of that. NGO Vita, with not too much ado, they were quite able to really make a significant difference in overcoming first the initial drought, and then also making quite a large area drought resilience, where with only 3,500 euros for a bridge on a canal, you were able to irrigate 400 hectares. Each of those hectares have doubled or quadrupled their production, with a marketing cooperative set up at district level, which started to market the produce not just only in the region, but even as far as Dubai, I was told. So I think that's a very reassuring message overall, that even some of those call for proposals, which have the reputation of coming up a bit haphazardly, if brought into a larger concept, and if also accompanied by sort of a strong policy paradigm from us, does make a lot of sense and is worth the effort, yes.